Welcome to the D-Shift podcast, where we provide inspiration, motivation, and education to help you transition from the challenges of divorce to discover the freedom and ability to live life on your own terms. Are you ready? Let's get this shift started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the D-Shift podcast. And I hope you are in the mood to learn everything you need to know about getting rid of energy blocks and overcoming trauma and healing through a really unique modality, I think, anyhow, and something I am relatively new to, and I've only heard about this a couple of times. So I have a fantastic guest, Amanda Beth Johnson. I want to read you. You know I have to read these so I don't mess this up, so bear with me, Amanda. I want to share with you a little bit about her and her area of expertise, and then we're just going to go ahead and have a conversation. So Amanda Beth is an intuitive healer. She holds 5 theta healing certifications. She is the owner of the Iowa Salt Pod, which is an integrated wellness spa. And Amanda Beth is the 2023 Geo Roper Award of Excellent recipient. And so I want to hear all about this stuff and how you came to be in this intuitive healing area of expertise. Welcome, Amanda.
Oh, thank you, Mardi. It's so good to be here. Gosh, it's just been such a long road. I've done a lot of different things in my life. I worked in human services. I worked in the promotional marketing and graphic design area. And then I fell more into the holistic wellness with a flotation pod. So yeah, if you've not floated, you need to float. It's amazing. It does a lot of great things for inflammation, for chronic health problems. It also just frees up your brain. If you don't have any health problems, you still need to float. Our brains were not meant for doing all the checking and everything. So it just gives your brain a nice reset, gives you some designated me time. I know people are hesitant to schedule that time for themselves, but I will guarantee you will get your time back. You'll focus better, you'll think better, more clearly, and you're going to sleep better. And we all know sleep is great and amazing. But in my journey and my process, so shortly after I opened my float center, I'd sold my graphic business, opened the float center, and I filed for a divorce. And in the process of filing for divorce, that was kind of the last straw for me. And in my life, I felt like such a failure and that everyone was judging me. You know, I live in a small community and everyone, well, they think they know everything about you. And so I found myself just absolutely withdrawing. I was in a position, as a business owner, you have that stiff upper lip, you're still going to work, you're still rocking it. I was also a manager of a medical center and just investing myself in work. And therefore I didn't have to deal with the emotions. And then I found myself becoming numb and I was getting through the day. That had become my goal. I had no goals, no dreams, no aspirations. I was just so lost after, going through this process of a divorce. And, a couple of years after it was finalized, I was even more lost. And in growing the alternative wellness business of floating, I stumbled into an energy healer. She calls herself a soul chiropractor. So she's a chiropractor and she also does energy healing. And in working with her, accidentally, because I never set out to do that, but things just come across our path and we need them and we embrace them. So I started working with her and I realized how lost I had become. And in working with her and doing the theta healing and other energy practices, I was becoming me again. I was able to close that chapter in my life and realize that a divorce is not a failure. Our marriage had run its course and being able to move forward and to write a new chapter in my life and to be happy and to enjoy my kids again, enjoy my job and all of that. So of course, after experiencing such a healing, I took all the classes and became a healer because I, like you, Mardi, I want to help people to thrive and to grow through this process on their own terms and to make it their life. So I I felt safe and empowered in those sessions, and that's what I do. I help people to become safe and empowered and to love and respect and value themselves again.
Yeah.
Because going through this process, and I was thinking about, before I came on the show today, divorcing. We do a lot of divorces in our lives when
Yep.
we create a healthy boundary. We're not just divorcing our spouse. There's some in-laws that you may end up divorcing, some friends, and some
Friends.
other
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So creating those new boundaries and developing new positive beliefs and getting positive with yourself.
Yeah.
And, so when folks are ready to close that chapter in their life, I'm here to help you to provide a safe and non-judgmental environment where you can express yourself, and we can quickly and efficiently go through those negative beliefs, those things that we have learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've learned that divorce is failure, and it absolutely is not.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest mistake. And I want to highlight something you said, Amanda, that I hear from I'm not going to say all because I don't like to use the word all because that's, a little too encompassing, but I would say probably 95% of the women I work with is that they felt their home life was kind of falling apart. So rather than investing energy in that, which was not going the way they wanted, they like siphoned all their energy into their work, and that became them. They became their work. And then all of a sudden it's like one day you wake up and go like, holy shit, who am I? Like, I'm the job. That's all I am. I'm my business. And that's not a way to live. Like, that's okay to get through a tough spot, if that's the best way to deal with it. But at some point in time, you're going to have to deal with that emotional stuff. So tell us a little bit about what is theta healing and why it's so effective at moving us through those emotional walls we've built up. Like I went to some event and I can't remember who it was that was speaking. Maybe it was Cheryl Stelz. I can't remember, but she was saying literally, it's like we create a brick wall around our heart, and we have to blast through that brick to be able to get to, that heart centered, being able to feel, being able to respect our emotions and honor them. So tell us a little bit about the whole theta healing and what that's all about.
So, in an oversimplified example, as a kid riding my bicycle, I lost control in some loose gravel. No big deal. I skinned my knee, got some kisses on my boo-boo, a couple Band-Aids, and I went back to riding my bike. Every time I would go by that same spot, I would like, ooh, or I would see loose gravel somewhere else, and it's like, oh, gotta be careful, gotta be careful, gotta be careful. That's how beliefs get stuck. I didn't wreck again, but I sure felt it. So every time we have an experience in our life, and especially emotions that we're not trained in how to deal with, they get stuck in our subconscious. And our subconscious, the intention is to protect us, to keep us from doing the same mistake, the same thing over and over again. And then going through, something emotionally traumatizing like a divorce, even when it's on good terms, even when everybody agrees to it, it still is emotional. And so being able to pull through those emotions and get the downloads. And so when I work with you, I go into a theta state to be able to co-create with your higher power, God, creator, however you address that. And we download the true definitions of those feelings so that we can release them and let go of things that no longer serve us. It no longer serves me to be afraid of loose gravel. It serves me to be cautious and to remember it could happen, but to be flat out afraid, no.
Yeah.
And so when you drive by a place, you go by your favorite restaurant or where you met or things like that, it doesn't take it away, but you can remember it now without feeling that emotion when we release that. So that's how we release those blocks. And theta healing works on the cellular level down to your DNA, because we bring a lot of these beliefs in with us. We're souls having a human experience, and we bring our experiences with us. So sometimes it's beliefs that we've gotten from society, from teachers and family. Sometimes it's our ancestors in telling us, women shouldn't handle money, women can't, you can't have feelings, you can't, all of these things. And that makes you free. It removes the obligation to have that sense of duty. You
Yeah.
can still do things, but now you have a choice and a freedom to do them.
Right. And so I'm going to throw a term out there that I think people hear all the time, this whole idea of limiting beliefs. That's really what you're talking about. Is a limiting belief is something that you have developed over time that doesn't represent the truth. It represents something that occurred in your life that you have now created to be the truth for every possible situation. And I'm thinking even, women who go through divorce and see and are told that if you can't keep your marriage together, you're a failure. And it may not be articulated that clearly, but that's the pressure they're getting from perhaps their church, perhaps their family, perhaps their coworkers, perhaps their friends. It could be any number of ways that message is coming through. And that's not, like you said, that's not the reality. Sometimes relationships just run their course.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us are still best friends with the people we were best friends with in sixth grade? Not very many, right? And I don't want to get on that topic of whether marriage should be this whole lifetime commitment or whether it should kind of be like a business contract. You have to renew every 10 years if you want to keep going. But that's the reality. So when people come to you, do they recognize they have these limitations, or how do they? What are kind of the symptoms that they may be experiencing, so that maybe people that are listening could go, oh yeah, I can relate to that. I see now how that might tie into what I'm experiencing.
So mostly it's the identification of I'm stuck. I don't like this. I don't like where I am. I want to change. I've tried everything else, and theta is so quick and effective that, I say we can do in a few sessions what you do in a couple of years of traditional therapy.
Right.
So it's being uncomfortable, and you don't have to know what that feeling is. And the part that I think is just absolutely the coolest about theta, you don't have to tell me the juicy details. I don't need to know. We're working with your higher power. They already know. And when you're ready to surrender and let go of things that no longer serve you, it's taken care of. So I don't need you to tell me the story. You don't have to go through it, because we all have plenty of stories.
Right.
But you don't have to. And
Yeah.
that's what I think is so powerful.
Yeah. And
So
so I
powerful.
want to clearly just highlight what you said. Coaching, energy healing, hypnotherapy, like there's a whole realm of kind of new options that people have opposed to traditional therapy. So, and I'm going to use the statement for that I say with all my coaching clients. So correct me, please, if this doesn't kind of align with what you tell your people. Therapy is really designed to go back in the past and deal with those emotions that occurred through a long series of past looking sessions that help you then structure your relationship or structure your whatever change you want for the future. With coaching, and I'm going to say coaching, and then you tell me if this applies for energy healing. For coaching, my goal is to look at where you are now and look at how can we change that for the future. I don't do the therapy stuff. I don't do the going back in the future. And I also don't need to know the long backstory. What does that look like for you when you're working with people as an energy healer?
Absolutely. Let's look at where you are today. What feeling is getting in your way? When we talk about your divorce or any issue, and of course, trauma is relative. And so any issue that's coming up for you, what is that feeling? And where does that feeling come from? Okay, let's clear up where that feeling got stuck so that we can move forward and that feeling doesn't hold you back anymore, that limiting belief.
Right.
So yes, absolutely, it is. Where are you today? Where do you want to go? How can I help you build that bridge in your journey so that you don't go through 6 or 8 years of misery, knowing that you're not getting anywhere?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And And I am going to say for myself, I really think, and I don't want to speak for you, Amanda, so you can chime in on this afterwards or just not, whatever you want to do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to therapy. So I want to really be clear on that. There are wonderful therapists that provide amazing results for their clients. And I have worked with people who have been in therapy, have used coaches, and who also use Reiki or energy healing or hypnotherapy. So these are not choose one or. It's not like
Oh,
that. It's
yeah,
people can
absolutely not.
combine.
Absolutely not. This
Yeah.
is this is just kind of yeah, I mean it works alongside.
Yeah.
It works alongside. I do have clients who do traditional therapy, and we're, kind of an adjunct to that,
Yeah.
and we help benefit them. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying don't do therapy. No, I'm saying do what you need to do for you, and I'm here to help you, where you're at and go where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I like about all the options. You know, I'm going to date myself now, but 30 years ago, when I went through my divorce over 30 years ago, we didn't, there was an attorney or a therapist. I mean, that was really what you had. And if, both of those professionals, very, very important, did a great job, but there was a lot of areas where you were kind of like, I don't really need all of that. I just this little piece of support. So when you work with clients, do you do it by Zoom? Do you do it in person? How does that work?
So yes, I do in-person sessions, but most of my sessions are virtual. It's energy work, so it's clearly available through Zoom, through phone. I have global clients to work on a host of things. And I do have a package to address divorce issues as well. Got an ebook for journaling and some activities, as well as a couple of meditations, as well as sessions
Yeah.
to be
So
had.
so you really offer a complete range of services for your clients. They don't have to come to Iowa and spend time with you,
No,
but they can if they want to, right?
they sure can. They sure can. Absolutely.
Where do you see where do you see as the biggest maybe I'll ask this. This might be a little bit of a tricky question. So if it is, just answer whatever you want. Where do you see kind of the biggest resistance? Or do you ever, like when you're talking to people about this, what's kind of the resistance you get? Or do you get any?
Um, for me personally, my resistance was, what do you mean this isn't serving me? I've gotten through, well, dating myself. I've gotten through all these years of my life believing this and doing this. What do you mean I can let go? What's
Right.
going to happen? How am I going to be? How long is this going to take? And am I going to really feel okay? This belief has gotten me this far in life. How can I do it differently? And
Right.
so having that trust that you can do things differently, see things better, things can be better. You don't have to keep living like this. You can have hopes and dreams and aspirations. You can thrive.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
thrive.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I'm gonna chime in too and support you with that. I have worked with clients who hold on to the belief that they are the victim because that has become who they are. That's become their identity. Everything was done to them in life. Everything was out of control. And I think sometimes acknowledging that I do have that control and I can choose to take it if I want is a really scary thing. So if you find yourself curious about moving forward and feeling fear about letting go of I'm the victim or this was done to me, I have no control in my life, you're not alone. Lots of people have that fear. And it's just like you say, trusting the practitioner you're working with to just explore and experiment. And if you don't like it, you can go back to your original belief. Nobody's going to do anything. It's always going to
Well,
be there.
and in theta, your subconscious, there are some things that are potentially unchangeable. Your unconscious is going to protect you. We can't do anything. Everything that is done in theta is done with your permission. And we do muscle testing before and after the process so that you're able to actually see and feel those results and know that they're there. And once we change a belief, it is changed. Now, you may feel that you come back and we address something similar, It's not the same. It's a deeper layer in that onion of life.
Yeah.
We keep going deeper. So, and I'm not, I work with people more on a short-term basis. I have a 30-day program, a 90-day program, single sessions. I want to empower you. I want you to learn how to identify these things and make those changes on your own so that you can move forward. You're not dependent on me or anyone else to move
Yeah. Yeah.
forward. And I think that's really important.
I do too. And I like the idea that, 30, 60, 90 days and or even a couple of sessions, maybe all that it takes to sort of get that energy blockage moved, cleared, so that you're able to make those changes. And it's fascinating all of the different modalities now that deal with kind of surfacing the subconscious thoughts and connecting them with the conscious mind so that we can adjust them and then get the progress we want. I think that's fantastic. And it's so effective. And it's amazing how many hospitals and Western medicine doctors are now using like Reiki and, all different acupuncture, things that they never did in the past, sleep therapies, all of that kind of stuff. It's really interesting how that's coming full circle. Do you find that's more common
I
in your
do. I do.
area?
Actually, the medical practice that I used to work for does refer clients to me for a whole barrage of things that can be accomplished. Releasing, looking at the idea that trapped emotions bring on disease. And so if we can release those, we release that, we improve our physical health and our mental health. Really, when you clear up those emotions and that depression, it's amazing how your physical health improves as well, and you're not being held back by that.
Yeah. Well, even if you go and look at, the concurrent medical issues that often occur with depression. I mean, it's literally a laundry list of probably the top 10 reasons that people go to the hospital, right? You know? So
Right,
if you can
right.
deal with the depression rather than just dealing with the symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
then, getting rid of those feelings of, anger, frustration, guilt, shame, all of those things that lead to feelings of not feeling worthy, which is really what, I mean, I know depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain, but it's the emotion stuff that leads to a lot of these, just sadness, not feeling good about yourself.
Well, and that whole worthiness. I mean,
Yeah.
we could do a whole show on worthiness. But, what were you told as a child? What did you hear that you just internalized and just believed?
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't do any better than this. This is, and you start to settle with things. You start settling instead of pursuing your life and thriving without all that old baggage. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
when you can just look forward and stop looking back. What is it? The saying about, your rear view mirror is tiny because your past needs to be tiny. It's that big windshield of everything in front of you that you have coming to you.
Yeah, yeah, and again, just going to tap into what you just said. The research is really clear that people who come from traumatic family histories, whether it's this generation or past generations, the people who have lived in kind of high conflict, high stress situations are more likely to experience high conflict, high stress in their life, even if they didn't live in that same environment. So there's a lot of research now that is backing up what a lot of healers, Eastern medicine, things like that have practiced for centuries. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, that may actually be true. So we need to.
It might, and Western medicine, as I look more into holistic practices, homeopathy, box, and all of those things as well. I do see Western medicine just working harder and harder just to suppress any symptom you have. They're not interested in curing, and I hate to use that word, but not necessarily making you better, but let's cover up this symptom.
Right,
Let's
right,
just give you a medicine. Let's cover it up instead of let's look at why you're doing this. Why did this happen? How can we make it better? How can we
right.
improve your life? How can you look forward to tomorrow to do more than just do it all over again?
Well, and I know we're just about out of time, but I've got to throw this in here. In the last probably 6 or 8 years, I've had a fair amount of interaction with doctors because I've been supporting some doctors. And one of the things that I have found is they are now really pressing pre-diabetic patients now to get on healthier lifestyles, healthier diets, and stop the early use of diabetes medicine. But again, and I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe.
But we do read them.
There's a reason that medications are. Watch the TV ads. What do you see every other ad on TV? It's a medication. It's a prescription medication advertisement because follow the money.
Follow the money. Yes,
yeah.
I cut cable years and years ago, and I've recently been watching different streaming services that have commercials. And you're right.
Yeah.
Every other commercial is either alcohol or medication.
Right. Yeah. So, we could get on another soapbox about that. And I don't have anything wrong with taking medications either. They can be life-saving.
There's a time and place.
They're absolutely life-saving, but a lot of them where they're just on-demand medications, I think, are where the problem lies. So, Amanda, you have shared a wealth of information. What is the golden nugget you want in the top of everybody's mind when they get off this call today or off this podcast?
When you're feeling stuck, that's not where you need to be. You need to be thriving. You need to get rid of that old baggage and look forward to every day. So yeah, figuring out how you can thrive. Don't settle for not feeling wonderful. Love and respect yourself and invest in your self-care. Invest in your self-care is probably one of the most important things you can do, and then move into finding a holistic healer, energy healer, a coach, therapist, whatever you need to do, because you deserve way more than that.
Love that. And that is so positive. Thank you for ending on that. Amanda Beth Johnson, if people want to reach out and find out more about what you do or follow you on social media or connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to follow me would be with Amanda Beth Healing. Their website is amandabethhealing.com. If you're looking specifically at the divorce services, that would be holisticseparation.com. That'll have the packages there as well. And I do have a book coming out soon. It's releasing spring 24 here, so it'll be out real soon. You can get on a mailing list, and it is not spammy because I don't do spam, at bloomingintolifebook.com.
Thank you so much. I will make sure that all gets in the show notes. And thank you, Amanda. This has been I've loved this conversation. Thank you so much for bringing all your wisdom and knowledge to the table here today.
Thanks for having me, Mardi. I really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you continuing your work in empowering people to, come into their own being in their own style.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for listening to the D-Shift podcast. And don't forget to listen in again next Tuesday when another episode goes live. Thanks for listening and supporting the D-Shift podcast. If you would like to attend live trainings by our amazing guests and have a chance to ask questions and get answers from our experts, join the D-Shift crew. For more details and to sign up, head on over to www.divorcecoachforwomen and click on the podcast page.